Alrighty, just bear with me just 1 second. Just doing all the usual technical mumbo jumbo at the start of each stream, especially because of the long hiatus. Just got to reset everything up again, got a new microphone. Bear with me, bear with me. Alrighty. I know it's sort of, shall we say out of the blue to stream this. It was a totally arbitrary decision, but basically I've finished the script for this video mostly, but I don't want to give it sort of one more wee playthrough so we can see exactly what's going on and whether I've missed anything. Should be exciting. I'm just gonna wait one more minute and grab myself a drink just before we start properly. You can enjoy this really beautiful main menu. This is probably my favorite part of this game, is the main menu. I don't know whether that's a sad indictment or not. I do still like this game, but the aesthetics, they nailed the aesthetics. Let's just say that for now. Right, well, I hope everyone's doing well. It's been a minute since I last streamed. Mainly, I think I just sort of realized I had to step away and sort of hit refresh. I was pushing myself a bit too hard, but that's okay. We're here now. I'm doing a bit better, so yeah, I'm keen to play through this again and see if I've missed anything, whether there's anything worth talking about. Cool. So you can see that the game is here divided into 12 episodes. Within each episode there tends to be 2 chapters. I think in the first episode there's just one playable section, but we'll have some cutscenes so you can see how it's divided up. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Kill her too!
Shit, we gotta do something.
Oh my god! She's getting away.
Leave her the fuck alone! Hey, look, someone's trying to stop him. That guy's in deep shit. We gotta go cops.
I don't have any reception. God, I can't watch this anymore.
Hey. Is she the actress that you guys hired? Shit! How could they have just murdered her like that? Goddamn psychos! Fuck!
Lost his hat. So yeah, the thing I've talked about a lot with these games is this sort of intermeshing of our reality with the game reality. So yeah, what's really interesting about these games is how consistently they try and replicate reality. You'll notice that there's a lot of film grain on the screen right now, which is an explicit attempt to basically to engage the player's mind on a certain level and to sort of draw them into this feeling like it is reality. And obviously you have that great opening, which is shot in live action, and then that, I guess it's an abrupt cut to the video game graphics. But it works really well, I think. Okay, so. Hello, Yovesh. It's good to see you. It's been a while. Alright, so as you can see, the game really does have this really fine level of detail. Even in this room, you'll only spend a couple of seconds in. It's just such a fine level of detail. Years now, I think 8 to 9 years. I think that sounds about right. Yeah. I'm hoping to just get back into it, as though no time has passed whatsoever. Maybe like a month or something. But 8 or 9 years, it's going to be tough to sort of dust off the old streaming skills. We'll see if I still got it, right? Hopefully the new microphone is working alright, and that you can hear me clearly.
Hey, wait, what are you? Ah, shit!
Okay, so we begin the game with a little chase sequence. Apparently this police officer, it's a pretty good shot in actual gameplay. Oop. Way more clear than I remember in the past, but I also haven't watched a VOD recently. I mean, it is a new microphone, so it's hopefully a lot nicer than the one I had. It's at the very least a slight upgrade, which will be nice, I think. Cool, so we got, is the cop gonna see us? No, this guy's gonna distract him. What a shocking surprise. But yeah, you have this thing that I talked about in the Forbidden Siren 2 video as well, where the proximity of an enemy gives you this heartbeat. So you're sort of explicitly connected in a bodily sense with the Shibito, with the enemies, if they're hunting for you. You sort of not just in vision, but actual in sort of physical feeling, which I think is a really important point. Actual what the controller can achieve with vibration is pretty cool. But often I didn't used to stop and think about that kind of thing. We're gonna hide inside this cupboard. But I think in the years since I've been doing game studies, I've sort of come to realize just how important every single element of game design is, and actually like what it adds up to, and the feeling and the mood that it adds up to. So even something really small and subtle like controller vibration, when used well, can actually add textual meaning to the game, which I think is really cool. But it can be, I think for a lot of people it can be tough, right, to sort of recognize like, I think you're just talking nonsense. What's the point? Here comes the cop. What's the point in saying that, this gameplay element has links to the atmosphere or whatever, but everything really is intrinsically connected in a game. So as I said before, the staticky film grain that crosses the screen, there have been a couple of readings I've done in the past which I think I may have referenced in the last Forbidden Siren 2 video. But basically, film grain at this point, like from a cultural context, it adds a sense of realism and history to what we're seeing. And this makes a lot of sense, especially in the context of Forbidden Siren, the Siren series, because the game is so obsessed with its temporal framework. Like, you have this incredible like Excel spreadsheet in the first couple of games, right? Just subscribed to my YouTube, thank you very much. Thank you, good to have you aboard. Okay, let's get out of here. I'm glad you're enjoying what I do. Cool, so if we go back through here, the cop's gonna surprise us. I'm gonna pick up this shovel. This is a nice tutorial level. Overall, this game is a lot more accommodating, shall we say, than the previous 2 games in the series. And I'd love to play through those on stream as well. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how I do. I don't know if I have the patience for the first one on stream. I'm so bad at it, even though I played it a lot. I'm still so bad at the first one. This one, at least, I know I can beat in like a reasonable time frame, which is like actually a problem, I think, with the game. And hey, no worries if you're busy. Don't feel any obligation to watch what I'm doing. It all gets archived anyway. Mission accomplished. Success. What a tremendous time we've had.
I know mommy's scary, but don't cry, honey.
And why are you still wearing those glasses I gave you? Who keeps presents from their ex-wife? God, get rid of them already!
Hey, cut it out.
Hey!
These are the only
What's wrong with
glasses
you
that I've
two?
got.
We just saw a goddamn murder and you're bickering over stupid shit.
And the soundtrack, actually. Soundtrack and the menus are very good.
What's going on? What's that?
So, of course, the cop survives because in this game, none of the monsters can actually be killed through normal means. Cool, edit to archive. The archive as well. I sort of rant and rave about that a lot in these games, I think. But archive is so detailed, so impressive. Now, here we have like this other really interesting thing that this game does in particular, which is really framing it like a TV show, which, personally speaking, like takes me out of it. But I think on some level it was meant to increase like that feeling of reality, right? I think it's meant to tap into the same emotions that the film grain does. But personally speaking, it doesn't really do it for me. I don't know about anyone else. Maybe we'll develop some opinions as we keep playing. But I don't know. I'm not really a fan of sort of opening each episode with like a recap and then closing it with like a stinger, like coming up next. Because this game was released episodically on the PlayStation 3 store. I'm not sure whether it was one of the first episodic games or not on the PlayStation, or just in general, to be sort of able to be downloaded. Yeah, I'm not actually sure, but certainly one of the... It's fairly early, precursor to a lot of more famous ones.
I can't believe it.
They just murdered her like that. Goddamn psycho.
Like the way the Left 4 Dead games were framed as movies. That's a really great point. That aspect was really minimal. I do think it has to be like minimal. Like the film grain really works for me because it's a subtle detail. It's like a ambient sort of feeling, just like the Left 4 Dead. Like it's in the loading screens and stuff as well, right? That the missions are framed as movies, whereas this one is explicitly like reminiscent of a TV show. And look, they reference it right here.
Is this some joke for TV? You never know what those idiots are gonna come up with. Bella! Melissa!
It's interesting, I think, considering how games try to, I guess not weaponize, but just like reuse textual elements from other media. So like the intermediality, intertextuality, all these elements, and like how do they make us feel? How do we understand all of these different elements of the game as coming from different sources? Because games are really versatile. You can use basically any media that I could think of in a game. Music, writing, plays, even, so many different kinds of games, so many different kinds of techniques you can use. So that makes for a really complex, like, cultural artifact. And Blood Curse is really interesting because it's sort of like a retelling of the original game, and they explicitly wanted it to be like a Hollywood-style remake, so like of a Japanese horror film. So if the original one is real, then this is like the film version of it, the fictionalization of it, which is a really interesting approach and fairly unique approach. But inherently the idea like makes it worse than the original. And I talk about that a bit more in my script, but I'm sort of a bit confused by it, really. Why that was the tone they settled on, but maybe they were hoping it would make this series more popular, because it's not like it sold particularly well. The second one didn't even come out in the States, for instance. Loading screen for missions in the Left 4 Dead is a movie poster. Final day of an area ends with credits being rolled. The player's names uses the actors. Yeah, that's right. And I think that works really well, because as we said, I think the subtlety really makes it work. But yeah, it's when things become really overt, I think it becomes a significant problem. When games don't lean into the actual strength of the medium itself, that's where we get issues. I think a lot of games aren't particularly confident, or they sort of, I don't know, a lot of games of this period in particular, I don't want to say they have an inferiority complex to movies and stuff, but I feel like during the 2000s in particular, it really did feel like games were sort of like, okay, we've really got to emulate movies here, because movies are like, the big thing. Everyone goes to the movies. We want to have that same level of presentation, and that's not necessarily wrong. But yeah, like I was gonna say, like that evolution has only really continued in the AAA space. I think.
You made me do that.
Sure. Yeah, it's. Okay, we'll go in. Oh, we can't go in there. Break the lock open. And I don't know if it is like an inferiority complex, whether it's embarrassment or what, but it is interesting to consider, I think. Another mission accomplished. Too easy. Like why games are relying on intertextuality, intermediality, Like, what are we getting out of that?
I just imagine things.
Why do games not want to be games? PewDiePie played this 12 years ago, my introduction to the series. Nice.
Now what?
Are you alright?
12 years ago. Yeah, this game came out in... It was 2008, I think. So it's getting kind of old now.
What a terrible wound. Can you walk? It's dangerous by yourself. Let me take you somewhere
Fine.
safe.
It's fine, I just got shot, I'm alright. It's still... I do want to make it clear that it's not like I really dislike this game or anything. I just feel like the first two games are a lot more effective. The atmosphere in the first one in particular is like sickeningly oppressive. So I do hope to play that through on stream, but that will take me like 3 years because, again, I'm not very good at it, despite the number of times I've played it. And here we're going to have a look at sidejacking in this game, which isn't very good if you ask me. Yes, my theory is that the directors of AAA games take inspiration in their storytelling primarily from their favorite movies, try to replicate the vibe in a game medium. High-budget cinematics also make for exciting trailers and impress journalists. Yeah, I think you're right, is that a lot of games are beholden to marketing in particular. If you can't get a good shot of like a famous motion capture actor in your game doing something dramatic, I mean, that's not going to look as good in the trailers. I think you're right. I still feel like, yeah, there's this desire to recreate movie moments in games, which maybe is why I like horror as well as much as I do, because often horror has got a much lower budget, so it allows you to immerse yourself in the gameplay. Not to say that every horror game is perfect. I'm obviously a big critic of horror games that just rely on cutscenes to like reveal monsters and stuff. Cool. So this is sidejacking in this game. Now, if you're familiar with the previous two games in the series, even just from my discussions of them, so the last two games have this incredibly clever, basically tuning the television station or tuning the radio station, so you spin the analog stick around and static blares across your screen. And in this one, you have this really ugly filter placed over the screen. You look around more freely this time. But as far as I played this through on the PS3, and I'm currently emulating it off the disc at the moment. And the game drops to 15 frames per second. It's a limitation imposed by the game, not the hardware, as far as I'm aware. So the game looks a lot choppier when you're in this mode. Just as a whole, sidejacking in this game is much less satisfying. And I do talk about that for a while in my script as well, as to why exactly this sucks. But I feel like just watching it, in comparison to previous entries in the series, I feel like it's fairly self-evident. Alright, so we can lock on. You can move while sidejacking someone's view. To leave sidejacking mode at any time, press L2. Cool. So you can see, yeah, just how choppy the game looks in actual gameplay here. And unlike the previous games in the series, so I kind of like this idea in theory, that it is a split screen, but you're not only contending with a lower frame rate and this like ugly filter, but you do have to contend with having less to actually see on the screen. And I do like the way it dynamically changes as well. You can see that the size of the screen changes depending on if I'm standing still or not, or whether she's looking at something important. But it does give me less room to work with. Really hurts to look at. Yeah, it's really ugly. I feel like they had a good idea, but just unfortunately really butchered it. Especially because they'd sort of already made the perfect system in the previous game, if you ask me. Like, I liked having to stand still in the darkness and like tuned to really loud radio static. I just think that was much more interesting. So we're going to fall through the roof here. And then I think we just climb to this cupboard. It's it is absolutely not appealing to look at. So you can see, like the limitation of the system. Basically right away, this is the tutorial for sightjacking this level. But it just, for me, it just really, it's not impressive compared to the previous entries. So yeah, I do have a bit of a go at that in the video, I think.
Just don't let anyone see.
Okay. So escape out the back entrance and reunite with Amana. And the other thing you'll notice, which was a deliberate decision of the sort of Hollywoodization, is that a term that people use, of this series, is the fact that now we don't have an all Japanese cast. Now we have American characters as well. Did I give you a fright just then? Okay. The game is also much easier. You can see there's actual checkpoints. Unlike, especially the first one. The first one, you'd be lucky to get a single checkpoint in a level most of the time. It can be really brutal, the amount of stuff you have to redo if you die in the first game. The second game's a bit more generous, but as such, it's always a weird discussion, right? Is how punishing should your horror game be? Because a big part of what makes horror games really scary. What are you? Yeah, perhaps we can use that sign. Sometimes a big part of what makes them scary is I think he saw me, didn't he? Can we just escape? Is she gonna come with us? Probably not. I didn't mean to. Where am I going? You can't leave her behind. That's what I thought. Okay, excuse me, I'm going... What? Okay, you did follow me. Alright, that's fine. That's fine. Quick, get to the end of the level. Ah! Perfect, alright, perfect. 10 out of 10. Just genius. Still got it. So yeah, there's only one playable Japanese member of the cast, and here he is. He's way cooler than the rest of the game has any right to be. Watch this. As far as I can tell, he's doing this with a shotgun. Cool. Okay, we're gonna cut back to Sam. He just got hit with a stick before. Yeah, what was I saying? I was talking about difficulty, right? So, like, how punishing should a horror game be in order to retain that scare factor? Because if you die and get sent back like 2 seconds, that's not scary. But if you die and get sent back like 20 minutes, that's scary for like the wrong reason. So there's got to be a balance, but that balance is so hard to find. And of course, the more I play horror games, the more I lean towards the painful like 20 minutes. But of course, also the older I get, the less time I have with work and whatnot. And streaming, of course, losing 20 minutes is like painful because I'm aware that everyone else now has to watch me like flail through the same stuff I just flailed through before. Okay, so we're gonna brace this door. I'm gonna hope the motion controls work. Now this is one of the new features of the Blood Curse game. Is the ability to hold doors closed, which comes in surprisingly handy a lot of the time. Okay, let's get out of here. Now, we'll leave those guys down there. Now, if I remember correctly, there's like a lot of Shibito up ahead here. Yeah, we get a cutscene to introduce them. Flailing can be fun, yes indeed. Horror games and motion controls, just perfect. Horror games and flailing, even better. Okay, we run down this way. Should be this hapless Shibito here. You can just wallop on for a second. Now, I think the interesting thing is, yeah, the willingness of these characters to engage in violence practically immediately. We've got more motion controls here, because, again, this was the period of motion controls. Every game had to have them, whether you wanted them or not. But, yeah, like, every character just sort of seems willing just to immediately start wailing on... You know, like, they are monstrous, but they're still, like, outwardly human. It does make me wonder, like, yeah, what's with these characters? Why are they so willing to engage in this, like, horrible violence? Is that just, is that some kind of meta commentary on the fact that, we've maybe already done this before, so we know the Shibito can't be trusted? No, that's giving it too much credit, right? Just interesting to consider how the language of most video games from the outset is violence. And of course in a horror game it does make sense. And then you have a lot of other horror games that try to do the other thing and sort of make you do a pacifist run, even though there are monsters that are like trying to rip you into lots of little pieces. Outlast is probably the biggest offender. So you'd think at some point that they should pick up a weapon and like at least like push someone away, but there's sort of hardly any of that. Okay. It's not like you can have good horror and this is gore constantly cutting the screen. Oh, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, the quest for good horror is eternal, I think.
I swear you're completely useless. I'm gonna find her myself.
Most of these characters are just incredibly petty as well. Run, kid. That's right, that guy will try and talk the monsters down. At least his first impulse was not violence, you know. You gotta say that for him. Now, when I first played this...
Daddy said they don't exist. They don't exist!
A lot of people had a go at Bella as the kid character in this game. And she's admittedly like annoying in the missions where you don't play as her. She doesn't make for a very good escort quest a lot of the time. Fortunately that doesn't come until like the back half of the game, but we still got to tough out a few missions where we play as her. I do remember reading as well, people found playing as her the most the scariest bits of the game because you are totally defenseless. And I think that raises another question as well about horror games and whether you need a weapon or not in order to feel scared. I feel like that's a constant debate that's going on the periphery of horror game discourse, whatever that is. Is a game scarier if you have a weapon and the capacity to run out of ammo and put yourself in a scary situation, or not? There's a bit in Resident Evil Village where throughout most of the game you have a weapon, but there's one bit where your weapons get taken away, and it is a scary bit, but
They don't exist.
having your weapons taken away also does signal to you that, like, okay, the only thing I can do here is run and hide. If there'd been an opportunity to attack maybe and to find out that your weapons were useless, maybe that would have been even scarier. I don't know, maybe they tested that. It's something I think I'll have to play around with as I develop my own game. A lot of it's down on paper. I just need to find the time now to actually develop it, which I should have come the end of the year, so I'm really excited to start that properly. Okay, so for whatever reason she chose to hide inside the dilapidated hospital, which is exactly where I would also go as a child. Just run straight into this really dark hospital. I can think of no better place than that. Okay, so I'm pretty sure there's a cutscene, or at least we can know. Okay, no cutscene. We can just sneak past. Okay. So the other thing you'll notice as well about this one is that, unlike in particularly the first one again, you actually are getting these sub-objectives. So I'm sort of constantly being guided on what to do through a lot of this game. Okay. So we'll have a look at the map, right? It's actually a really good map. Again, the menus are really beautiful. The blood red is really cool. And you can see, look how seamless it is. It's so nice. I'm such a big fan of this map. It's such a small thing, but I really do like it. And on the map, of course, you can see our sub-goal. So we need to get to staircase C, which is through the operating room. The other thing we can have a look at, so the game does still use real photography in the menus, but not on the characters' faces anymore, as you will have noticed. They use more modern motion capture rather than straight photography. Somehow I've never seen a map like that before. Why doesn't every game have this? It's so good, right? Like, it's so good. It's so detailed, and the fact that you can flip it just with the analog stick. It's really one of the game's best features. Like, again, whoever did the UI in this game should win all the prizes. I'm just such a fan of it. It's so cool. As well as the archive, I think a lot of horror games can learn from the archive. I can't show it off at the moment. I need to go to the main menu. But the archive is, so beautiful. I'm such a big fan of the level of detail and love that they clearly put into this game. A 3D model of the game's world in the palm of your hand whenever you need it. That's amazing. Yeah, it's really cool. I definitely would be tempted to sort of rant and rave about it for a while. Maybe I should bring that up more in the script. Actually, I don't think I mentioned it for very long, but I could talk about the map for longer. I think it's a really cool map. Okay, so there should be one. Should be down there. So we'll put the game down to 15 frames per second. I feel like that's a good decision. Squeeze through this gap. Pass through. Let's be sneaky. Oh. Cool. Keep running. But yeah, it's sort of the game still feels quite modern, like in its UI. I think its UI is fairly timeless, which is part of the reason why I quite like it. It really fits the game perfectly. It's just a shame they couldn't nail down some of the other aspects. I wish they'd managed to make another one of these for PlayStation 4 or something, because I feel like there were just ideas in each game that if they'd somehow combined them all, I think they could have made like the perfect horror game, or something close to it. As much of a fan as I am of the first and the second ones anyway. And this one's got some really cool ideas too. Cool. And yeah, like visual design is mostly pretty good other than sight jacking, and the audio design's pretty solid as well. Okay, reception's locked. Find the reception key near the incinerator. It's downstairs, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Gotta go sneak past the nurse again. But yeah, the heartbeat as well. I'm a big fan of that. It's a shame when fantastic innovations die out just because the game they debuted in didn't sell well. Yep, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I can only imagine what the gaming world would look like if people had actually paid attention to Pathologic, the original Pathologic when it had come out, and learned some of the lessons that the game was trying to impart. But yeah, obviously that didn't happen. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Just gonna hide in here and hope she doesn't open the little incinerator door. And I'm just gonna grab that key when she leaves. Okay, you go back, sit down. Obviously people are paying more attention to Pathologic now, but it's still only smaller teams and indie studios, which really are carrying the flame. Yeah, I think you've read I think we must have read each other's minds then. I'm gonna hide back in here. She's obviously gonna come back down the hall. Hopefully she doesn't see me. But yeah, if only the AAA studios had listened as well, I think there'd be a lot more interesting big budget games. And I feel like that's part of the problem with a lot of modern horror is that, yeah, like the level of detail that games like Siren are able to achieve, totally different to the level that like little indie horror games that are made by two people. Like you can do so many cool things, but the archives in this game and sort of the blending of live action and like the game world, I think those are things that you can't do on a lower budget, at least not without years of dedication. So yeah, it's interesting to think about more sort of big budget horror games. Still plenty of chances. Absolutely. Yeah, stay optimistic. Yeah, exactly right. If people today can still take inspiration from works created thousands of years ago, I think Pathologic will get its time in the sun too. Yep. I just hope I'm around to see it, right? But that would be ideal. If Pathologic and stuff really got its time in the sun.
Help! Daddy, Mommy! Where are you?
Very subtle, very clever. So I guess pacifism doesn't work in this context, but like at least we tried. Okay. Maybe we can have a look at that. Press badge. Yeah. So like the level of detail here, like the actual physical items made in the archives, I think are really cool. See these detailed photographs with the actors. Just a level of detail that like does not need to be there, but successfully like immerses you in the world even more. So you have these letters as well. Dear Bella, it's Mommy. I'm not sure if Grandma will want you to read this or not, but I'm writing because I miss you so much. I heard from Daddy that you're doing very well in school, and I'm so proud of you. He said your favourite subject is art. Did you know that was my favourite subject back when I was a young girl, just like you? Really wish I could be there to see you draw all of your wonderful pictures. Daddy sent me one of your drawings a few days ago. It was so great I took a picture of it on my mobile phone so I can see it wherever I go. He also sent me a new picture of you. You're such a beautiful young lady. It's hard to believe you're already 10 years old. I'm so sorry we can't be together. I've missed so much time with you and there's no way I will ever be able to make that up. But just always remember that Mommy loves you more than anything in this whole world. Make sure you listen to your daddy and teachers and be a good girl, okay? We'll see each other again someday soon, I promise. Love, Mommy. So, like, most games would just have the text, right? But obviously, given the funding that this game had, because it was developed by a Sony team in Sony, they were able to go to this extreme level of detail and put a lot of thought into all of this here. And I know, like, probably maybe not that expensive to make. I'm having a go at making stuff like this myself because I really like the level of detail. Trying to take photos and that kind of thing, like envision how it would fit into the game, sort of archive items, because I'm a huge fan of it. But it's just clearly evident that the developers love their game and love their story. Okay, so what we've got to do now is sneak out through the basement. Whoop. I think we got to set like an egg timer in the kitchen, if I remember correctly. We'll just see what this nurse does. So sidejacking like also remains a good idea. It's just not as scary as it once was, which is a shame because the original one is still really bloody scary. Not many games really scare me anymore. I feel like I sound really jaded a lot of the time, which is probably a bad thing. But yeah, I've just at this point, having experienced a lot of horror stuff and lots of different media, it's just it's just something I have to cope with. I think that's my cross to bear. Yeah, how tough do I have it? Okay, just depends which way she goes, whether she comes out into the hallway or not. No, she's gonna go straight through there. That's cool. So we can just sneak through, open this, and get the hell out of here. Slip through this tiny wee gap. I seem to recall Soul somehow made it through.
Come on, Bella. It's me.
They're just so, like, part of the problem with the Shibito in this game, that's the name of the monsters, is that they're just so, like, they're almost like comically monstrous or comically evil, whereas I don't think the ones in the first game necessarily delved into that. You still get a sense in this game that they're people, but they're sort of transformed more explicitly, more quickly into monsters.
Bella?
How did he get there?
Hey, baby. Come on. Don't be shy.
Abrupt in all the wrong ways. Yeah, no build up to make that scary. It was just, just sort of comical. Whereas the first game, to my memory, I don't remember it pulling anything like that. Maybe the closest you get is the principal, but the principal in the first game is still really freaky, so that probably doesn't count either.
Yeah, Hanase!
Get your hands off of her. Wait, you were part of that ritual.
In the first game, that's more effective as well. Her hitting the person in the back. This guy's just too cool. I'm not quite sure why the game has skipped the end of a couple of cutscenes now. I'm not pressing any buttons, but maybe the emulator has just a wee problem. That's alright. Okay, so this is the first escort mission. This mission in the first game was much more interesting because in the first game, Miyako is blind, so you need to use sidejacking and look at her so that she actually knows where she's going and you can't leave her too far behind. So this game has sort of already removed one of the more distinct, like frightening elements of this level. But this level admittedly does still have a pretty cool, clever moment. I'm hoping we'll get to show that. Okay. Look at that hideous, just awful. It just does not look good. The visual filters, the frame rate, and I'm not normally like a frame rate person. Like if you told me that there's a difference between 30 and 60, you know, I might notice it if you point it out, but most of the time I really won't care. Okay, but yeah, in this game it's very noticeable. Alright, so we just gotta climb up here and apparently leave her behind for whatever reason. Okay. So she's going to run away, and that puts a ticking timer on us because we need to find a weapon. So she's going to flee, I think. Well, I hope she is. She's not doing very well on the side of my screen right now. Yeah, okay, she's running away. Right, let's have a quick look at the map here. So again, really cool map. Rant and rave, you know, we love the map, but we need to get to the equipment storage, so there's going to be a couple of Shibito in the field down here as far as I recall. And what's cool about this game, I think, is the reconstruction of old spaces. I mean, obviously I'm a huge fan of that. I've talked about space a lot, but this level is pretty reminiscent of one of the environments in the first game. So this field here, for instance, you have to fight through this field in the same mission in the first game. Okay, so if you're keeping your eyes on the right side of the screen there, that's actually where the interesting stuff is happening. So this is the really cool part, I think, where the Shibito get given character. So yeah, look at that sort of aching back. Oh, alright, garden. We're gonna get the hoe. That should be more useful. Okay. And the Shibito like asking each other for help, actually having dialogue. We have this human element, but sort of corrupted into the mob mentality, just mindless killing at the end of this. Like, oh, can you help me with something? And then what they're trying to do is like break down the door so they can kill someone. Okay, we're gonna try and break this. It's really hard to see when I'm actually hitting, but yeah, I'm a big fan of that moment. I think it's really clever. Okay, just keep on coming. Hopefully she's able to hold it closed for another minute or so. Okay, drop down to the path. It's down this way, isn't it? Yep. Cool. Okay. We got him. Garden hoe supremacy. Here we go. But you can see here, yeah, it's like, is this guy like an experienced killer, experienced fighter? I'm not sure. I don't think he's supposed to be, but he's got all these like cinematic moves, which I think sort of harm the game a little bit. Oh, I was too slow. Just because he knocked me down. Okay, I don't know where the checkpoint is. Is it right back at the start, is it? No, it's at the tree. Okay, let's try that again. We got it this time. I was just a little bit too slow going down that path. I think I stopped for a little bit too long at the church to ramble on, you know how I like to ramble. Okay. Let's go quick. Also, it felt like at the beginning of the last sequence she took more damage than she was supposed to. but maybe that's just me imagining things. So yeah, we got a bit of time here. So I know a bit more where I'm going. So yeah, when did I play this through? Was it March of this year, I think? I played it through and I had to think about it, and then I started writing a script. Okay, come on. It's uncalled for. You weren't here last time, come on. Alright, what do we got? Handrake? A hatchet actually might be better. Maybe. Oh, I'm making better time. I am gonna. Can I get the hoe again? Yeah, I'm gonna get the hoe again. Okay. That's probably just lost me all the time. Picking my weapons. Oh, which garden implement do I prefer? It's so hard to choose. Okay. Up this way. But I think this is what this sightjacking mechanic was made for, was like building tension on the other side of the map. Unfortunately, it still doesn't quite redeem the whole sightjacking thing, because it does make the game still look like pretty hideously ugly. But you know, their heart was in the right place. They had a good idea, but I don't think the PS3 was really strong enough to handle it, personally speaking. Okay. Alright, this time. Okay, stay down. Hey. Not this time, buddy. Whoops! That took one hit to take him down this time for some reason. Okay. Didn't mean to hit her. We're safe now, other than my flagrant disregard for your safety. We're safe. Alright. So. If we head up this way. Yeah, it's a really cool game, all things considered, but I feel like it's only really cool if you haven't played the first two. Once you've played the first two, all I can think about now is like, oh, why did they change that? That really didn't need to be changed. It was better in the first one. The gameplay worked better in the first one. Feels more vulnerable in the first one. This one is definitely more of an action game. 2 emotes new, or have I just never noticed? I did shuffle some emotes around. There were a couple in like the subscriber tier. I think I added them a while ago, but theoretically I know what you're talking about. I believe our very own Blue Voices was kind enough to make those for me. And again, Blue Voices, if you are listening at any point, I do really appreciate it. Cool, alright. One more Shibito to deal with. Ouch! Don't have any unlocked, but they do exist. What is with this? Why was that guy so tough? Okay. Let's get out of here. Mission accomplished. Alright. Another mission down. Wondering if I can... I'm not sure which ones I did shuffle around. Was it this one?
Tell me what I must do next.
Cool, well I'm glad they've actually like filtered through so people can see them. That's good at least. Cool, end of the game, yep. Done. I'll just pretend they're new. They are functionally new. Cool, we're making pretty good progress. I do have to go in like half an hour, but I might be back for a couple of hours later this afternoon. But we are making pretty good progress. So the other thing I do like in the menus, I like the backgrounds and the way that the colors like flare and change whenever you select something. I think it's really, I don't know who came up with that, who was like, oh yeah, this is the visual aesthetic of this game, but really gorgeous. Okay, we get another nice TV recap, as though we literally didn't just experience all of this.
Where are you?
Come on, Bella. It's me.
No, no, no.
No. Oh, he didn't shoot Sam, he was trying to shoot the other,
No! Get away from me, son of a bitch!
Cool, okay, so now it's time for sniping gameplay, I believe, with Mr. Seigo Saiga in Harayadori. Cool. I really am such a fan of how the game looks, and you can see the film grain is sort of over here as well. Hopefully it's coming through alright. So we got to escape to Hirasakai with Sam. Now, ready the rifle with L1 to enter sniper mode. Okay, let's see how poorly I can shoot. Cool. Reload. God, he's tough, that guy. Okay. So we just gotta... It's like a turret defense mission. I don't know if they have an actual name in video games, to be honest, but there's a lot of games with a sequence like this in them. Can blame you for the fact that games have story recaps. Oh, yeah, you got a lot to answer for. Siren Blood Curses story recaps. How could you? Back in 2008, how could you? Okay. Now you can see as well the game has already introduced another kind of Shibito, which are the fly Shibito. And they're, yeah, explicitly pretty monstrous. Flying around with wings attached to their heads, which is a pretty cool detail. Okay, one of them spotted me, I think. Okay, and now we got some great music here. I love this track for some reason. Okay. There we go. So yeah, you can see like the cool detail. They have wings growing out of their eyes, which is pretty cool body horror here. And how they fly is the wings coming straight out of their head. Pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. This track is like unusually groovy. Okay, so now we just got to find where Sam is hiding. Before we do that, I wonder if it's worth looking around at all. But maybe we should just have a look. Okay, he's not in here. But we're just gonna climb it. Oh, okay, he's definitely not in here. All right, just had to confirm. Cool. Okay. Check upstairs. Hello.
Trust this guy.
You're just gonna say that out loud to his face? Okay. Interesting decision. But yeah, you've got this really washed out color palette in this area in particular. At least during this mission. Maybe it's just the weather. Okay, so I just wanted to see if there was anything else around here. With the shotgun, we're pretty okay if we can see the enemy coming. It's absurdly powerful, and it does have quite a bit of ammo. Yeah, the problem is, there's just, yeah. What is he doing? That guy had a gun, dude. Okay. Alright. I just wanted to check around and see if there was anything in particular. Dead Rising 1 followers, just sprint straight towards the zombie horde. I love escort quests where the person you're escorting does not have any self-preservation instinct whatsoever. Yeah. Greetings. Okay, so the road to Hirosaka, I think, is the one up to the... yeah, up to the left. Okay, let's go. Oh, Sam, you moron. Turn around. The guy's got a gun. Okay, can we get the drop on him? I don't think we can do that. Okay, take a seat for a second. No. Hang on. No. Pick the double-barreled shotgun back up, thank you. Is this locked? Yeah, it is, okay. I think we just gotta go around him a little bit and snipe him from down below. Okay, give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes, come on. Thank you. So you can see, like, the problem is that, yeah, this game... yeah, that's not good. Like, this game doesn't know how to build the same level of tension as in the previous two, just because you feel like a bit too secure with the modern control scheme. Okay, can I get him from, like, from here? Yes, I can. Cool. It's just a bit too easy to get past the Shibito. Like, even if they do keep getting back up, just like in the previous games, they just don't feel like the same existential threat. Okay, cool. So after escorting you to safety, I'm gonna point my shotgun, like, at your face.
Do I look like a monster? Are you crazy?
It does get, like, a little bit harder, like, in the last 3 episodes, but, like, the game is still much easier than previous entries and a lot of other horror games here. It feels pretty cheap a lot of the time, actually. Cool. Hope you like siren noises, because this level is full of them. Okay. So we got to the Ito house. But this was a bad mistake. Wait, what am I carrying? Got a poker or something. Okay, let's have a look around. I don't really seem all that concerned, to be honest. Oh, hello. What do I have? Is it a poker? I don't know what it is he's carrying. Crawl under. Okay, let's go under here. Could possibly go wrong. Just, yeah, like, in the previous games, like, if more than one Shibito saw you, you were pretty screwed most of the time, unless your character was lucky enough to have a gun, and even then, sometimes your character just wasn't quick enough. Your characters felt so vulnerable and so human in the first one, but the quicker movement speed in Blood Curse really is, unfortunately, ironically, yeah, like a bit of a curse, if you'll pardon the pun on sort of the game's scare factor. It's really unfortunate. Okay, so we're in this house. As far as I remember, there's like 2 or 3 Shibito in here, just sort of patrolling back and forward. One of them has a gun, I think, but he hangs out, I think it's the dad, and he hangs out in the living room. Okay, I really don't know what it is I'm carrying, but it doesn't really seem as effective as I'd like it to be. It is an iron poker. You think it should be pretty effective. Maybe we can check that in the archive, actually. Yeah, strength strong. Yeah, subpar iron poker. Okay, so that doesn't really hurt anyone at all. Get your knife is better for now. And yeah, excellent. Who would have seen that coming? Any level with the double barrel shotgun is really easy. Okay. All right, so he is there with the keys, but he has a gun. Now, I feel like we can lure him out, but we can also theoretically just like charge in there and stab him. Yeah, He's only going to get one shot off, theoretically. Or he would if Howard hadn't butchered the move there. Cool. I'm just going to take his gun. Oh yeah, no, Travis would be loving this. He'd be in his element here. I think what we were supposed to do is turn on the clock, find a way to get the clock to work, because that would lure him out. But that's much less interesting than just kicking the door open. Okay. You unlock the door. Okay, let's get out of here. So in the first game, this level is really hard and really scary because you're trapped in this really enclosed environment. You actually have to, like, you can't leave her far behind because, reminder, she is blind in the first one. And so you're trapped in this really enclosed environment with a bunch of Shibito, and it's really confronting. Pretty sure. Yep, collapse. Yep. Okay. Right. That was embarrassing. Let's wander back around. So yeah, like I remember vividly this mission being like so hard in the first one, the first time you play it. Yeah, trapped in the house, having to get out each time. I can't remember how many times the mission features in the first game, but it is quite a lot. Okay, just get rid of her. Go back inside. Reload my gun. No, it wants me to do the fancy thing, but I'm not going to do the fancy thing. I'm just going to hit triangle. Okay. Around this way we go. Oh, sorry, I took your gun. What is happening? Oh, oh. Really freaking out there. Right, let's go back upstairs. I don't think there's anything in here. I think this is just a spare bedroom or something. Yeah. But yeah, it really is the ease of movement, I think, that kills this game's fear level. You just never sort of feel particularly unsafe through most of the game. There's only a couple of moments where I really felt that way. Okay, she's up here, right? Yep. I gunned down every Shibito with this unlimited revolver ammo I seem to have. Okay. Hang on. Is she following me? Okay, reunite. This is nitpicky. Don't think having such a smooth reload animation is good for a horror theme. Be better if the character was at least somewhat inexperienced with a gun. Yeah, I do agree. Just having the character be legitimately vulnerable. I feel like, yeah, that this game really missed out on that. And part of me is like, well, you know, they were trying to do that deliberately. Like, they were trying to emulate like a Hollywood remake. But again, like, I don't know why they'd intentionally choose to handicap themselves like that, like other than as like a cool like thought experiment. I don't know, I'm just not convinced by it, particularly. Like, I don't know why they choose to deliberately make the game less scary. Maybe it worked for some people, I don't know, but most people know the series because of this game. And for most people, this is the only one they'll play. But I guess even this series isn't, you know, most people don't really know it or remember it a lot of the time. Yeah, it's curious.
Help me! Where's Sam? He's there, isn't he?
Looks like Bella's.
It means she's alive!
I have a few things I must take care of.
Miyako, Isho, Gambaru.
My lord! What is it you deserve?
Yeah, again, it sort of skipped a little bit at the end there, but that's okay. Alright. Episode 5. How much time I got? 20 minutes. We can have a go at this Melissa chapter. I don't recall being a big fan of it.
人間だと思って助けたら怪物だった
Cool, just in case as well you weren't paying attention, here we go.
But this is a matter of life and death, after all.
Is anyone there? Hello?
I think it's just, yeah, like it comes down to, like, in terms of actually being scared, I think it comes down to the level of control. And when you don't feel in control, like, that's frightening, because most of the time in games you are like the center of the world, or you're at the very least expected to have some level of control over the outcome. And horror games sometimes I don't mind a little bit of like arbitrariness. Like, if a horror game does like dump an enemy in front of me, or if my gun does jam for whatever reason, like, I should have expected that. Like, that's part and parcel of playing a horror game. But if everything sort of works seamlessly the first time, and you do feel in control, like the character is responding seamlessly to all of your commands, it is less scary. And a lot of the time, like, I get people who are like, oh, like, why play older horror games because they're so clunky and all that kind of thing. The usual arguments that get rolled out. But it is a shame that we're so dismissive of a bad control scheme. As counterintuitive as that sounds, bad control scheme can actually make you think more deeply about the level of movement required in the game. Like, I don't know, I kind of like grappling with weird control schemes or like clunky characters, because it does sort of put you in their shoes a bit more. It, again, like that bodily connection between you and the character. You're sort of both fumbling around in the dark, struggling to remember the right button to press, or like holding down a complicated series of buttons. I don't know, again, maybe I am just like a weird masochistic outlier in terms of this stuff. But yeah, I like to think other people, feel the same way. They like their horror games mean and unwilling to compromise with you. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is locked, right? Yeah. Find the roof key. Now, does it tell us where the roof key is? It does. It's all the way down in the exam room, which is on the ground floor. Okay, so this level also introduces the dog Shibito, who are explicitly more monstrous than they were in previous entries. I don't know if we'll get a good look at one, but they sort of basically envision a human being on all fours, but with their torso twisted 180 degrees around them. Which is like pretty creepy, but again, it's almost too monstrous, like too dehumanizing. I think the most interesting thing about the Shibito is their humanity. Unlike a lot of horror game enemies, there's one. Just gonna close that door, so they can't open doors. I'm pretty sure these dog Shibito, but they are very fast and very dangerous. Okay, so yeah, we can see the key there. Whereas in earlier games in the series as well, you would probably have to like scan through all the Shibito to like see them looking at the item that you maybe need for like 5 seconds. So you really have to get into their head. You'll notice that because the game gave me the cheap option, I admittedly did take the cheap option, and I was like, okay, where's the roof key? I tried not to do that the first time I was playing it through, but yeah, it wasn't always successful. Sort of, once the game gives you the option to sort of take the easy road, it really is often just sort of too tempting to sort of be like, well, why am I wasting my time with this? Like, I could be speeding through this. But I feel like that's the wrong attitude to engender in someone who's playing a horror game. You should like feel stuck. Like, you should feel like deeply uncomfortable with what's going on. Okay, is there anything I can do to distract the Shibito in this area, or do I just have to like sprint in there? Yeah, she doesn't have a weapon. We can light a flare though. We can do a flare. No, the flare is gonna freak it out. Pick up the roof key. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, oh god. Look at all this visual, everything that's going on the screen. Just an absolute nightmare. Just gonna leave her to that. Okay, back up we go. It's curious, I think. The level of pain that I'm after from a good horror game is probably a lot different than a lot of other people, and the problem with that, of course, is that painful horror games often sell less, and less, less mainstream, I guess, which isn't a bad thing either. But sometimes you do want these ideas to sort of make more of an impact than they do. But I suppose they are inherently niche for a thing that's meant to make you feel relaxed. Be like stress relief at the end of a hard day. That idiot. So you can tell that they're on very good terms, these two. All right. So we can spy on their conversation, which I think is another good use of the feature.
What is wrong with this village?
We should settle in here.
I might just focus on it.
Melissa, where are you two? Please be okay. There's gotta be something I can do. Hey, does that work? Maybe we can use it to call for help.
Unfortunately, all means of contact with the outside world have been cut off. We can communicate within the village, but it would be taking a great risk, assuming the person on the other end really is open.
It's nice how Saiga can zoom his eyes in. I think that's pretty cool, right? You will just notice that he zoomed in enhanced. Cool. Okay. I don't know whether I have time to finish this mission based on what I remember, because the bit in the basement kind of sucks. But I might just get to the next checkpoint. So what we're supposed to do is knock out the thing that she's pushing in the chair, which is a Shibito brain, which is pretty gross. But it basically orders around all the Shibito in the area, connects them within this insect hive mind. But yeah, find a weapon, knock out the Shibito brain. Now, I don't know where to find a weapon. Just play for another 5 minutes, and then I might be back later on to play a little bit more. I am feeling the pangs of a lunch break coming on. Okay. So, yeah, those two dog Shibito are blocking the way to the phone, which is in that little room that we passed through before as Bella. And we need to find a weapon. The question is where that weapon is. Oh, that's not good. I really can't remember where it is. We can call the elevator. Can we go in here? No. What about down here? This does unlock. Is there a wee weapon in here? So we got Saiga's notebook now. This is his weird little creepy operating room. So he's clearly got some stuff going on that we can talk about next time. Okay. So that's locked. Yeah, I just recall the basement. I feel like you get ambushed immediately the moment you go down to the basement, but I can't remember where to find a weapon. Okay. Let's just try it. Whether we get killed or not, probably be time to finish there anyway. I can save sort of halfway through the mission. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's like the nurse. Yeah, Dog Shibito waiting for us and the nurse waiting for us. Okay. No weapon up here. Yeah, we're kind of screwed here now. I'm just gonna shut this. Kitchen knife, cool. Okay, so we need to knock out the Shibito brain, which means we gotta kill her. Or knock her out rather, because she'll just get back up in a minute. And take out the brain here, which theoretically used to be a person, which is pretty gross. Okay, so they're down. Now I guess the question as well is like how do we know how to do that? Like how do we know that that's the objective? The fact that the objectives are listed, it feels a lot like certain other games where you're just like given all the objectives and you're just sort of running them through. There's no experimentation. It's just okay, do here, go here, do this, pick up this thing, which I think does harm the game as well. Okay. So if we go around, it was 201, right? Two. Watch this be wrong. So you can see, yeah, if you don't defeat the brain, sort of nothing you can do. You can't get past the Dog Shibito to use the rotary phone in time. Cool. Mission accomplished. Perfect timing. Alright. Hope everyone's enjoying this game so far. I feel like I'm like speeding through it. So I hope it doesn't like feel like I'm like leaving things behind. But I do feel like it's moving at a quick enough pace that there's enough for me to talk about consistently.
Help me! Where's Sam? He's there, isn't he?
Melissa, is that you?
Cool, so we'll save Amana's chapter possibly for this afternoon when I return in a few hours' time. Next week it would be great if I can do like a big long stream and finish Silent Hill Homecoming. Actually, this is a really good cutscene. It would be a good place to finish on here.
This looks like
It
Bella's.
means she's alive!
The music here is spectacular too.
Yes, it looks just like the church built in Colorado. It's just down the road. That way. I have a few things I must take care of.
Let's go.
I really like his character. He's very understated, I think, which is why I like him a lot.
Don't give up hope.
Keep over.
Then you have like this inference that, yeah, it's not said, but she is someone really important to him. I think you learn it in an archive. And then, yeah. Probably one of the best cutscenes in the game, if you ask me. Actually understated, not over the top or anything. And then this Shibito, she gets used in all of the YouTube thumbnails. Cool. So I do have to shoot off. Sorry to like cut it off just as we're getting into the real guts of the game here. We've just sort of passed through all the tutorial missions and getting into the trickier stuff. It's still not difficult, but like slightly trickier, I guess. But next time when I come back, we will do this mission, the one and only mission in the game, where you play as Amana. And this is a really good mission, and I talk about it for quite a while actually in the script. So I'm hoping to mine just a few more things out of it in this playthrough. But yeah, hope you're enjoying this weird little spontaneous playthrough of a 2008 horror game. Hope you're getting something out of it. Hope you're learning something. And it's great to be back. I feel energized. I hope I sound energized as well. You know, like I'm really, I'm buzzed to be back. I'm really enjoying it. So I will catch everyone later on. Thanks for watching, and hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you very much.